So hello and welcome back to episode 14 now, Andrew Blair. I was going to say 13. The weeks are catching up on us, and just 4 weeks now left on the road to Cheltenham Challenge. Wasn't as much racing this weekend, Andrew Blair-White, but we will have a look back at a couple of the performances, and we'll start with yourself. Performance of the week.
Well, probably a little bit of bias from my own Ante-Post book, but I was really, I quite liked Ellie May at Naas. I thought she was pretty good. She was a little bit behind the bridle early. I don't think she's a real 2-miler, but obviously the stiff enough finish at Naas saw to pretty decent effect. She's pushed Shattered Love and Yukon Lil away, both giving them weight as well. I thought that was a pretty impressive performance, and all roads now lead to the Mare's Chase. Obviously, there's been a couple of not so healthy looking drifts on Benny de Jew for both the Mare's Hurdle and the Mare's Chase on the Betfair exchanges over the last couple of days. So it further emphasises the point that I suspect Ellie May will end up being Mullins' number one for that race. And I think she'd take an awful lot of beating. I think 2.5 miles is exactly what she wants. She's a really good jumper of a fence, and I'm hoping that I'm sitting pretty on 12-1 and that she can go and do the business.
Absolutely. Well, let's stay with the same card for my performance of the week, Andrew Blair-White. We were limited enough, I suppose, with the racing, but it wasn't Ace's card, and one of my selections was in this race, Andrew Blair-White, and completely bombed out. Apologies to the viewers or anyone who got involved. This horse really let me down. I suppose Autumn Evening let me down, but Druid's Altar in the same race. Now, when I saw Autumn Evening entered up for this race, I said absolutely brilliant. Needed to win to get into the Boodles by the looks of it, off a mark over 122. And your thoughts before the race, which were whichever horse wins this is going to creep into the Boodles. And, winners of this race in the past, I think Aramax won it last year, Andrew Blair-White, Band of Outlaws, to my knowledge, won it as well. So has a really good record for throwing up Boodles winners, let alone runners. And Druid's Altar here ran off 122, sure to go up, I'm sure. I'm not sure, I didn't see any. I think it's tomorrow morning, Andrew Blair-White will see an adjustment there. But he was one that is going to creep into the Boodles. Looks ideal, had some very good form early in the season. Went off favourite for the race that Zanahiyr ran in at Fairy House. So, the horse has had quite a few runs, has experiences, ideal type now for the Boodles. And I thought he won snug enough now, Andrew, to be fair. So definitely one going forward. That's Druid's Altar.
Interesting enough for yourself. I'm going to give your energamine plug for the week for you, but it was good to see that far mix of Liz Doyle, who was beaten out of sight in that race at Naas, won very impressively, I thought, as well, from the front at Punchestown yesterday. And he's one to certainly keep in the tracker for those big novice handicaps at the Ferry House and Punchestown festivals.
He's nice, Andrew, isn't he? In fair, we saw some nice performances yesterday at Punchestown. Jungle Boogie. We talked about sharp price favourites for Willie Mullins, 2 to 13. Oh, he was very, very impressive, and I saw got quotes for the Albert Bartlett. Little experience, but the Devil's Coachman. Where do you see him going? Because he's smart, showed a nice turn of foot.
Yeah, he's a horse I love a lot, the Devil's Coachman. I really don't want to actually see him run at Cheltenham, though. I just think he was obviously very raw and green in the Grade 1 point, appreciated at Christmas time. He's gone into 2 softer events since and has won both impressively. I'd love to see him. I think there's a Grade 2 2-mile Novices Hurdle at Fairy House at their Irish National meeting. I'd love to see him run in that, potentially win that, and maybe take on the likes of Appreciated and Ballyadam again in the 2-mile Grade 1 at Punchestown. But if he was to miss Cheltenham, I wouldn't be too disappointed, because I think he's a lovely horse, and I'm sure they will want to keep those ones ticking over.
Absolutely. Andrew Blair-White, for the next 4 weeks, we are going to take one of the main races, so one of the feature races of the Cheltenham Festival. We're going to start with the Champion Hurdle today. I'm going to give us a quick show bet, and we're going to, I suppose, speak about, as I said, a feature race every week between now and the rest of the series. We're going to start Champion Hurdle Honeysuckle, 9-4, Andrew Blair-White. Appetante, 11-4. Silver Streak, 9-1. Abacadabras is a 12-1 chance now. Sharjah the same. Aspire Tower, he's 10-1 in the place, but generally available at 14-1. Concertista, obviously non-runner, no bet, 10-1. Unlikely she goes here. Song for Someone, 16-1. Bouverdaire, 20-1. San Ra, 20-1, Goshen 20-1. They're some of our old favourites, Andrew Blair-White, and it is 25-1. The rest in here, that's the betting. Look, I suppose on the Cheltenham preview, early bird preview show for Champ.ie, we mentioned that if either of the mares went here, that, you know, the Irish mares, Honeysuckle and Concertista, that if whichever of them went to this race, so we're going to take an awful lot of stopping. Now, we have been accused, Andrew Blair-White, of being Irish biased, but I believe you're warming to Honeysuckle as a champion hurdle horse. Last year, you weren't so keen.
No, but it was chalk and cheese, her runs in the Irish champion hurdle last year, and this year she looked a different horse. I thought it was a clear career best last week at the Dublin Racing Festival. Look, it probably wasn't the strongest form you're ever going to get, but it's not that, you know, much of a vintage renewal of a champion hurdle. There's no getting away from that. A lot of those horses you've read out there at the each way prices, like, you'd generally be disappointed if any of them was to win a champion hurdle. The likes of a Silver Streak, Sharjah, you know, you'd be disappointed if they were to win. I think she's got all the things going about her. Honeysuckle, I see she's mainly 9-4, but I see there's a couple of books that are going 5-2. Honeysuckle 5-2, Epatante. I'd be always in Honeysuckle's camp there. You know, you're picking a mare who's in the form of her life, 10 from 10 under rules, I believe it is now. Rachel Blackmore gets on like a house on fire with her. And Epatante, yes, she's come back from a disappointing run before. She obviously blew up in the Mayor's Novice a couple of years ago. That wasn't any issue last year, but it was a fairly, you know, tame run at Christmas time. And I must say, there's nothing wrong with Aidan Coleman. I think he's a super rider. He's won plenty, you know, he's won a couple of grade ones, but he just doesn't ooze the same confidence that Barry Geraghty did on this mare. And I'd have Honeysuckle over at the prices, really. They're similar enough type of price. I think Honeysuckle's a much better bet.
Yeah, I'm gonna suppose speak about Henry de Bromhead and Honeysuckle. For me, she's the most likely winner. I think obviously she won the mares last year. She looks in a really good place this season. You know, sometimes we can be affected by recency bias, but coming down the list, speaking about Henry de Bromhead and Aspire Tower. For me, at the start of the season, he wouldn't have even been on my radar, but the horse has done absolutely not a thing wrong. And what I like about Aspire Tower for the champion hurdle is, you know, it's no nonsense. You know the tactics. He was a big juvenile last year. I think Thomas Kyle is a fan of this horse and did say that, you know, even seeing him last year in the flesh, he's a horse that was probably going to improve from 4 to 5, and, you know, physically. And what I like about his chances for the race is that, you know, he's obviously. He's going straight here. Last year he went to the Dublin Racing Festival, so I like the way he's been campaigned. Similar enough to Aplutard, ran well at Christmas, goes to Cheltenham straight, and that's kind of the angle I'm taking with Aspire Tower. And I just think, you know, the way he's going to be ridden, you know he's going to be up there. And if Henry was to eke out any sort of improvement from him, I just think at the prices at 14-1 generally available, he probably is a model to place in a weaker renewal. And he was one certainly at a bigger sort of a price. But Honeysuckle, exactly, she's the likely favourite. I could see her going off a lot shorter on the day. She's available at 5-2, but you could really see the support coming from her on the day, especially the Irish angle. But Henry, we were speaking that he could be well placed for the Gold Cup, but it looks like the champion hurdle is two real live players in here. But probably just at the prices at the moment, I like Aspire Tower, and of course Thomas Kyle put him up at 40-1 on their season preview, so Thomas will obviously be hoping for that. But let's come on to, I suppose, the business end of the show, Andrew Blair-White. And yeah, look, let's read out our selections. Andrew Blair-White, your selections are looking very tidy, I must say, and you look in pole position. I will have to concede that at this stage, especially after autumn evening last weekend. So fire away. Anyone that hasn't seen, I suppose, your selections today, let's go through them. Let's talk about our feelings currently about each of our selections.
Yeah, well, you're being quite generous to me there, Barry, to be fair, considering I almost abused you to no end for Energumene last year at 40-1. But looking at my selections, look, some are okay in there. You've got Nassalam starting off at 25 to 1 for the Triumph Hurdle. That's been the same for quite a while now. He's now 16 to 1. He may have an each way chance. I think he's up against it against the Irish horses. Wide receiver, 25 to 1 any race. Really happy with that. Hopefully he sneaks into the Martin Pipe. I think he's got a massive chance if he does so. Chacan Persois 9 to 2. It was just one to get Chacan on the team, and I'm glad I did so early. Before he ran at Cork, I think he's now a shade of odds on. I think if he runs to anywhere near his best form, he wins. Latest exhibition, 16 for 1 for the RSA or the Brown Advisory Novice Chase. Now it's called. I'm seeing Paul Nolan's getting a little bit of cold feet about it now. I'd like them to just keep running them against Monkfish, to be honest. I think the RSA is the race for him. I don't think actually the 2.5 mile grade 1 at Fairyhouse would particularly suit the horse. I don't think. But he's got an each-way chance, but Monkfish will more than likely beat him. Delvino and Dusart, we won't mention either of them. They were two of the weaker ones. Brave Man's Game at 16 to 1 for the Ballymore. I think he's 9 to 2. Looks a hot race, but I'm happy with him, and I'd still be sticking with him. I know I'm concerned by Bob Ollinger. I think an awful lot's been made of this Gallard de Manil. He beat an awful lot of Albert Bartlett horses at the Dublin Racing Festival. I'd fancy both Bob Ollinger and Brave Man's Game against him. Runwild Fred at 10 to 1, any race. Hopefully he just about sneaks into the Kim Muir. I think he'd have a great chance in that. It came to pass 12 to 1 for the Fox Hunters. I really like that. I can't have this favoured at all. I don't think he jumps well enough. Aramax at 20 to 1 for the Grand Annual. I think I'm clutching at straws with that one now. His jumping's just not good enough. I don't think over 2 miles. Wouldn't surprise me if he ran in the Brown Advisory handicap rather than this. Ellie May at 12 to 1 for the Mares. That looks strong enough at this stage. Captain Guinness 20 to 1 for the Arkle. I actually still think he'll run into a place in the Arkle. He could well, he should be third really behind Shishkin and Energamine, whichever order that's going to end up being. But I wasn't impressed by All Mankind today, the Kingmaker whatsoever. So I think he might still have an each-way chance. And last week, Kashari at 25 to 1 for the Carl Cup. I see he's been bitten into 16s across the board. So interesting. I've used 2 of my wildcards, and I will be using my third one today. But Time Hill at 5 to 1 for the Stairs Hurdle. Happy with that. And Honeysuckle at 3 to 1 for the Mares Hurdle, which unfortunately I could probably throw out right now.
Eldorado Allen, we'll move on. McFabulous for the Stairs Hurdle. 12 to 1. Not going to happen. Goes to Aintree. I would take it. Appreciate it. 12 to 1 for the Ballymore. The more time goes on, Andrew, this is just not going to happen for us. I don't think Willie will make the switch. Champ, another one that's just still up in the air. Just can't wait to see this horse run because he's 12 to 1 for the Gold Cup. He's still 12 to 1 for the Gold Cup. I think he's shorter in a place. This was my week 4 selection, and interesting, Nicky has said that potentially back for the Game Spirit over 2 miles, and given the way he travels, his jumping might let him down over 2 miles, Andrew Blair-White. But in an Energamine 10 to 1 week 5 selection for was any race, and boy am I kicking myself that I didn't just back myself fully for the sake of the competition and going in at 20 to 1. But look, I think he takes the world of stopping it in the Arkle. Kescon Risk at 25 to 1 was entered again at Punchestown in the race that the Devil Coachman won last weekend. Have no idea why we didn't see him. Maybe someone might let us know down below if someone has an update on Kescon Risk. 25 to 1 for the Supreme Novices Hurdle. Wouldn't give up all hope there. Concertista, one of my better ones, at 9 to 2 for the Mayor's Hurdle. And Tukas, plenty of people rolling in behind in Tukas. And just to let you all know, I think you heard it here first. 25 to 1 for the Grand Annual. Andrew Blair-White was week 8 selection. And yeah, I love this selection. I think going for the race, going to take an awful lot of beating off his current mark. Better ground will suit. Autumn Evening 40 to 1 doesn't look like he's going to get in now. Last week was confident, as I said, delighted to see him entered up in that race at Naas, but I can't see him running between now and then and getting into the Boodles. It's probably dead in the water at this stage. Ramillies 14 to 1 for the Champion Bumper. Can't see it. Although, Andrew, I'm going to stop now. Week 10, this is more value for the listeners. Kilcrut. The more time goes on, and we come on the show straight away after the Dublin Racing Festival and said this horse is going to take so much beating, which he will, I'm sure. But at the price is at the moment, people are making the argument that Sir Gerhard has gone out in price now and is potentially value now at this stage. The more time goes on, the more I reflect, was Kilcrutt's bumper win, was it just nearly too good to be true?
Well, that's what I thought at the time. Like, it was a hard one to get your head around. Is this really as good as it looks? I think the likes of Simon Rowlands and stuff like that has come out and said that the sectionals did collapse. They went too hard in front, and maybe it was a case of other horses falling in a hole. I think he's got an outstanding chance in the bumper. Would I back him at 6-4 though? Probably not.
Yeah, Royal Kahala. Week 11 selection, 8-1, still 6-1. Look, it was disappointing to see her getting beaten. It's not ideal. But the horse, I suppose, that has beaten Royal Kahala obviously gets a penalty. I'm not sure. Royal Kahala, I presume, is still the plan to go here. Does have the option of going back to Fairyhouse, but 8-1 seems like a fair enough price at this stage. Third time lucky for the Supreme Novices Hurdle. Again, this one probably has the option of both Supreme and County Hurdle. It was disappointing to see him getting beaten at Musselburgh. I thought he did hold good each way claims prior. Grand Raw, if I pronounced that right, Grand Raw. Gordon Elliott, Coral Cup. Yeah, he was week 13, last week's selection, and I'm confident on this. I think he is well handicapped, Grand Raw. And yeah, look at as I said, I liked him at Christmas, and I think stepping up in trip is certainly going to suit Grandwa. And as we know, Gordon Elliott, for the Morans, it's probably likely that one of the handicaps at the Cheltenham Festival, which I think will be the Coral Cup, will be his target. She Wears It Well was week one's wild card. Obviously, that has not lived up to expectation. She is out for the season, so yeah, we'll move on from her. Monkfish 3-1. Again, one of my better ones. It is a wild card, so we'll be double scoring here when Monkfish wins, and I think it's a matter of when, not if. 3-1 Andrew Blair-White. Plutard was my third and final wild card. Couldn't be more happy with this selection. Again, I've said this on the show a couple of times, those strong staying 2 milers. And we speak about Champ going back to the game of spirit. Yeah, I mean, to be a 3 miler, a Gold Cup horse, you have to be able to win at the minimum. This was only last season, the only horse that has beaten Chacun and Bourgeois over fences. So I would say that last year's form was excellent. He's course winner, and he's ticks nearly every box. I love the way he's been campaigned as well, Andrew Blair-White, this season. At Plutard 9-1 has shortened up considerably, and it'd be interesting to see the jockey bookings there on that one. But Andrew Blair-White, let's go. Let's go for week 14 selections, and we'll start with your good self.
Yeah, well, I'm going to crack in with my third and final wildcard selection, and it's one that I just have to get in the team, as I do so every year. He's not a massive price, but you're there hypothesising about the Gold Cup, about all these horses, coulda, woulda, shouldas, and the favourite and the winner is just staring straight at you. And the fact you can get 3-1 Alboom Photo, I think is ludicrous. I think he's a 2-1, 7-4 shot in this field. I think it's a rubbish Gold Cup. Like you're saying, all this great stuff about Plutar. Seems that everyone's forgotten in November time got beaten by Castle Grace Paddy at Navan. Good old Castle Grace Paddy. But look, he'd have a chance each way. I can't have Champ just on the preparation basis. I think that the rest of the Irish horses have blotted their copybooks quite a lot. Kenboy's not even going to run in the race, and he won in the Irish Gold Cup. Minetta Indo hasn't performed. Lost in Translation hasn't performed. Santini hasn't performed. So many non-performers in this. Royal Bagai probably will end up running in this race. Don't think he's good enough. Alboom Photo, I've backed him the last 2 years. I've backed him again this year, and he's just the type of horse that just keeps winning, and people will keep taking him on for no real reason other than the fact that he's the favourite. And I just think it's a fairly windy Gold Cup. So he's in there at 3-1 as my third wild card. I think that's pretty solid. I'm hoping to be collecting, like yourself, on Monkfish at 3-1. I'll be collecting double points.
The nearer we get to the time, Andrew Blair-White, I can understand your logic. A lot of the horses, last year's novices in particular, have fallen away one by one, and you're left with Plutard and possibly maybe Champ. Is there anything else that can get in contention based, if he turns up in the same form as the last 2 years, he's going to be bang there. And is that your wild card, Andrew Blair-White?
Yeah, that's my wild card, and I've won then of my normal week 14 selection. And this will be more of a value pick. I do think, if I was being honest, I know we're trying to back winners in this. I would be backing this each way if any viewer was looking to get involved, and it comes in the Mare's Hurdle. I just look at the Mare's Hurdle market, and it is littered with non-runners. Concertista is the favourite. She will win, or sure, she will run, and she more than likely will win. And the mare I'm putting up would have a heap to find with her. But Benny the Jew's in their second favourite. I don't think she's going to end up running at the festival, if the exchanges tell you anything. Honeysuckle's running in the Champion Hurdle. Damned Company's been over fences and has been brought down. Couldn't be backing her. Ellie May's going for the Mare's Chase. You've got Elfile in there, hasn't run this season. Dalcheetah was well stuffed this year. And it comes down to a Gordon Elliott trained mare who's got great festival form, Black Tears, who will be running in this race. She's 33 to 1. It's just a mad price. As I say, I think there's 4 or 5 non-runners at the top of the market. Wouldn't surprise me if she's a single figure price on the day. Fourth in the Mare's Novices Hurdle 2 years ago, and actually only 2 lengths behind Concertista, and was second in the Coral Cup last year to a very well handicapped Ante Company, giving her plenty of weight. She comes alive around Cheltenham. She has an awful lot to find with the favourite, but not much to find with the other mares she's going to end up running in this. I think Roxana, is also in the betting there. I think she'll either run in the Stayers Hurdle or skip Cheltenham completely. So yet another non-runner there. And if this race cuts up to what I believe it is, you're getting 33 to 1 3 places. It might be a 6 or 7 runner race come the day, with Concertista long odds on, and this horse maybe 6 or 7 to 1. And I think 33s is a fair each way price. And just in case something did happen to Concertista, I think she'd have a bang chance in this with her festival form. She's now handicapped out, but she won't be running in the Coral Cup. She's got a mark of 150 in Ireland, which would mean 154, 155 in England. She won't run in a Coral Cup. She will run at Cheltenham, and this will be the race.
You nearly made as good a case for Black Tears in the Mare's Hurdle as I made for Entuka's back on week 8. I think Andrew Blair-White it was. The silence was deafening here. Yeah, listen, coming to Black Tears, first of all, the first point you made was, the festival form. She has good festival form. She's a mare I've always liked. She's a strong travelling mare. And am I right in saying that she run in that same Mare's Hurdle the first season that Concertista finished second? I think she ran quite well in that. I think, correct me now if I'm wrong.
Yeah, she finished fourth in that race.
Yeah, I was thinking, and what I'd say about her is, I heard her mentioned for the Coral Cup. I think a couple of viewers down below have put her in the Coral Cup. But it'd be interesting to see what you say. You seem to think she might go here, which is interesting. But nice to see you get a big juicy one in there, Andrew Blair-White, back up your wildcard selection, which is Album Photo. I was actually waiting. When the hell was he going to put Album Photo in here? That was going through my mind a couple of weeks ago. Was he going to wait until he goes 9 to 4, or is he just going to go and do it? Yeah, listen. My selection for the week, it was time with 2, but I've picked a horse that ran at Exeter on heavy ground of a Sunday, Andrew Blair-White. He won yesterday, and he was in my tracker for quite some time. The race I'm picking, first of all, is the Pertemps. I think it's a race that the Irish angle isn't as strong as maybe previous years. You look at the Pertemps qualifier at Leopardstown. Dandy Mag obviously won the race. The Boss's Oscar. Personally, I think I'm not so sure how well handicapped he's going to be when he crosses over this year. Imperial Alcazar did impress me, but again, will have gone up plenty on the blind side as well. He seems to be first, but I just think the Irish angle isn't the strongest this year, and there's a horse I've been watching for quite some time. It's Brinkley for David Pipes. Now the thing about Brinkley is he obviously won yesterday when the ground wasn't so good. I think he is going to need definitely on the softer side. He's qualified, obviously, has won 2 races on the bounce, up to past the mark now of 140. So he's going to go up again by Marteline. He's only had a couple of starts, but was impressive when we saw him on only his second start over hurdles. He bet do your job, Andrew. You know he's a horse you like, by 15 lengths at Newbury on soft ground. So he doesn't necessarily have to be heavy for the horse. But I think the pipes. It's interesting that David has said that they probably will roll the dice here. He's at a price of 16 to 1, and I know they like him an awful lot. That's Brinkley. He's going to obviously be a chaser in time, but I think this race at Cheltenham looks to have been the target, and they've got him obviously qualified. And of the British, I think 16 to 1, I could see money coming for him now on the preview circuit as we get ever closer. So as I said, Brinkley is my selection for week 14 now, Andrew Blair-White. So
we're trying our best here, trying to back a couple of winners. And I think between our 2 books, I'd like to hope we've got a few pretty decent prices.
Immensely enjoying the series. Everyone that's getting involved down below, please stay going. As I said, we only have 4 weeks left. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, and likes obviously on this video are much appreciated. But Andrew, we'll be back next Monday, and hopefully we'll have more racing to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Look, there's the Betfair Hurdle and the Game Spirit and the Denman Chase. Hopefully that will tell us an awful lot, and we'll see where your Champ Gold Cup slip lies next Monday.